what are trans rights? What are they, and who grants these rights? Now, we need to start from the very beginning here, and that rights only come from God. There is no right to anything unless God exists, because if there is no God, it's just human beings with their own opinions on what is good and what is bad and what is right and what is wrong and who has the so-called right to do X, Y, or Z. Only if God exists do rights exist at all. This means that if there is no God, there are no rights of any kind. There are no gay rights, trans rights, Christian rights, the right to life, the right to abortion, the right to same-sex marriage, the right to natural marriage. There are no rights to any of this, anything, if there is no God. So we need to establish that right up front. And as you well know, this is what our country began on. The Declaration of Independence clearly states, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And of course, Jefferson goes on to say that governments are instituted among men to secure these rights. In other words, the government doesn't give you your rights, as some people on CNN have said recently. The government simply recognizes the rights you already have. If a government gives you rights, it's not a right, it's just a preference, because another government can come in and then take it away from you. And by definition, a right is something no one can take away. You have it regardless of what somebody else says. So governments merely recognize rights or don't recognize rights, and that's when you have a bad government. Rights only can come from God. And when Jefferson says they're self-evident and endowed by these rights, or this Creator endows us with these rights, we intuitively know this. It's written on our hearts. But the fact that these rights exist only exist because God exists. You can know you have a right if you're an atheist, but not be able to justify it because you're an atheist. So we're saying only if God exists do rights exist. So let's start with what are trans rights. First of all people are made in the image of God and should be treated with respect. But does this mean that everyone needs to agree that a man is actually a woman and must be called a woman? Is that a trans right? Or that a man must be able to use a woman's bathroom or shower or locker room facility? Is that considered a trans right? Or that a man can play women's sports?
Wins the NCAA championship.
Or maybe more aptly put, a boy can play girl sports in high school.
To a competitive and controversial weekend for Mac Beggs.
Are those considered trans rights? If those are trans rights, we have a big problem. Why? Because essentially what the folks who are advocating for trans rights are saying is that all of society must give up their rights, be it their rights of conscience, their religious rights, or their health and safety rights, to accommodate these new trans rights. I mean, the writers of the column that precipitated this question that Mark sent me, in the column they talk about human rights and protection. But they are actually advocating violating human rights and protection by allowing girls or allowing boys into girl showers, or allowing men into women's showers or restrooms. And it's not just, say, someone who identifies, a man who identifies as a woman that can cause a problem. Any male can take advantage of this open bathroom policy. You can just, even if you don't have gender dysphoria, you can just say, hey, today I identify as a woman, and go into a bathroom, go into a woman's shower, go into a woman's changing facility. And according to the trans rights activists, the women who are put in danger over this have now lost their rights, apparently. And if you don't think this happens, and has happened, you probably haven't heard of Scott Smith and his daughter in the Loudoun County school system in Virginia. In 2021, Scott Smith's daughter was raped by a boy wearing a skirt claiming to be a girl. She was raped in the bathroom. And this made the news. We'll put the link in the show notes. because about a month after this happened, he went to a school board meeting and it was denied that this happened, and a scuffle took place, you could well imagine, because the school system apparently tried to cover this up. And you can read the whole story. I don't have time to get into all the details. You can read the story in the link that we'll put in the show notes. But they tried to cover this up. And then the student was actually transferred to another school where he did it again. And then he was finally put in jail. So why are we saying that the safety and security and privacy of girls, that those rights must give way to the right, apparent right of somebody saying, look, I just feel like a girl, I'm a boy, but I feel like a girl. I have gender dysphoria. And so the whole world must change because of this particular mental delusion that I have. And that's really what it is. It is a delusion. You think you're a girl when you're really a boy, or you think you're a boy when you're really a girl. Why does the rest of the world then need to accommodate the mental condition that you have by changing everything they know about reality and even jeopardizing their own privacy and safety? It doesn't seem like that's a fair trade.
That was sweet, huh? Did you like that?